Welcome back. It's me, Daichi, and your good pal.
Shadow.
Yep. We're here, and we are about to break down MSI.
That'd be exciting.
It's the big thing that's coming up, and I hope all of you are excited for it. And we realized something going into it that not a lot of people know the players.
Yeah, I mean,
you might recognize the teams here and there, but do you know the players?
yeah, like we got the four major regions, but there's more than that. And if you look deeper into the team, there's a lot of surprising facts that you might learn about.
Yeah, and so we thought that to go into MSI, we'll break them down for you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll introduce you to the players that have the most spark, that really stand out.
That really stand out in each team.
Yeah.
Each team, by the way, every team that's going to MSI,
Yeah,
we're going to
13 teams. We're going to start off right with the LCS. It's our home turf. We should know all of these by now. So we're going to start off with Cloud9. Cloud9 coming off with a solid victory.
I mean, Cloud9, not much to say, but they've been doing amazing this year. Their league team just won back-to-back finals, by the way. Their challenger team, their academy challenger team, they just won. Their Valorant team just qualified for VCT playoffs. You know, Cloud9, it's sort of like they're just running the whole show in the NEC.
Biggest thing for me is since the league conception of their team, they've been in either a playoff or finals game.
Mm-hmm.
Not every single split, but at least one split every year since their org was created.
They're just consistent.
Consistently in the top.
We thought TL was consistent, and then boom,
Surprisingly not.
Yeah. But now it's almost like Cloud9 is like the only team that's like still managing themselves at the top.
Yeah. And it's seen throughout all of their organizations.
Yeah, they're a pretty old org, and at the same time they're willing to make changes because, you know, at the end of the day, there's legacy and there's also winning, and consistently winning makes the legacy.
They're good at securing both.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we have Fudge.
He dominated the top lane this split. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and one thing that I didn't know was that like one of his very first years on Cloud9, he was already going into Worlds. Like the expectation of that must have been daunting.
It is. It's almost like he's been in. It feels like he's been in the roster forever. You know, just because he's sort of like the spokesman for the team. You know, the content guy, and he kind of just like makes the energy, right? But right off the bat, he's kind of had that same impact that Berserker had when he joined the team, just popping off and still popping off.
It feels weird to think of a Cloud9 without Berserker.
Yeah.
It does.
And like even before then, like Fudge. Imagine if they didn't have Fudge. Like
it'd be weird.
It was just weird because like this year they made Berserker the highlight, right? But then last year they made Fudge their whole entire spotlight.
The year before that it was Blabber.
Yeah, and now their team is like so strong, and like fans love the team because the three players that they just put so much spotlight on are now all together and are very stable with each other.
Yeah, speaking of Blabber, like even for just him starting off strong, like he's probably one of the best NA junglers.
You can't sleep on Blabber.
Yeah.
Everyone, I don't know, like they're talking about Spica or they're talking about.
Well, Spica is a solid jungler.
That's true.
I can't deny that.
I agree, but like I just don't think people, when they think of the best jungler, like Blabber just never comes to people's heads.
Well, I think that has to deal with the fact that, what was it? I think it was 2021 at MSI previously, where
Scuttle.
Yeah, the good old Scuttle incident that just gave him the nickname Blabber Crabber. Or Crabbers, Blabbers.
But the best thing that Cloud9 did was not give up on him. And
yeah, they stuck with him. He's consistent.
He's consistent.
Very consistent. And then you have their mid laner. I'm going to botch it completely. MNS.
No, that's perfect.
That was perfect.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I'm so good at
Before
Korean.
you call him Eminem the rapper, but
I'm so good at speaking Korean now. Look at me.
That's not Korean.
Well, he's a Korean player. It's a Korean name.
That's
Korean gamer tag.
That's like Eminem and M&M's like combined. Okay, it's a rapper and like a chocolate brand.
Yeah. So I've heard that there's some dirt on him. or not really like dirt, but just like he's like a troubled child, problem maker.
Kind of in a way.
But it seems that he's fitting in like a glove. I wonder if it has to, like, the reason why he's fitting so well with Cloud9 is because since Fudge is from Australia, just like his like Fudge's trash talk just mashes with M&S's kind of like maybe somewhat toxic behavior. We don't know the full story, but like if that's the case, those two go hand in hand.
It's honestly impressive because M&S, he's only been in, like, before he joined the main roster, he was in academy for I think like only 2 to 4 months, and even although Diplex was already playing well, they're just like, hey, M&S, he knows more, he's been thrown around a lot, but he's got experience, and Cloud9, they put their full trust in him, and like look what that took him. Like if M&S was in the beginning, like if he was in the team from the very beginning of the split, like without a doubt, I definitely think he would have been like the first all-pro team mid laner. Like, without a doubt.
Yeah.
His LeBlanc.
It's very solid.
It's exciting to watch, like, a mechanically talented player like that. It's unfortunate that so many teams, like, kind of threw him around. But, again, it's that same, like, pattern of Cloud9 just putting faith in a player and it working out magically.
Yeah. And then you have Berserker, everyone's favorite ADC.
Yeah. He's so funny.
Now, I've always had a thought about Berserker.
What thought?
So since he was an academy player for T1, what if there's a world where Berserker actually replaced Gumayusi?
Oh, dude, it's just like crazy to think about it. Because like, if you think about it that way, then it's almost like Cloud9 has Gumayusi in a way. Like Berserker is their Gumayusi, right? When we think about these tournament events, it's like Cloud9, they have one of their own Gumayushis.
Yeah.
If you look at the rest of the teams, like, they don't really have a star ADC. Obviously, there's Prince. Obviously, there's Berserker. And there's Doublelift, who managed to make into the top 3 ADCs.
Somehow.
Yeah, somehow. But, like, other than that, you don't really see anything impressive in the bot lane.
Then good old Sven.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Golden Guardians now.
No. I will say... he actually had some interesting things. I didn't know he was the first player to win a championship in both LEC and LCS.
Oh.
I didn't know that about him. That one actually caught me off guard a little bit.
I thought that was... But didn't Niski also do that?
Yeah, he did.
Uh-huh.
But Sven's the first.
Oh, because... Did he win with Bjergsen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because he's on TSM. You know, I just forgot all about TSM. Just... I think as soon as I became like a huge fan of the pro scene, I was like, oh my god, TSM, they're so cool. Bjergsen, oh my goodness, instant fan. You know, I just became the basic bitch that just like was a TSM fanboy. And after all that shit went down, I'm just like, who's TSM?
Yeah. Also, speaking of Bjergsen and Sven, those are the only 2 recorded EU and NA players in the LCS to get a pentakill in both regions as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, and then we have Golden Guardians.
Like good old Golden Guardians. I mean, who would have expected them, right?
Yeah. First ever international appearance.
That's crazy.
Like,
that's
to
crazy.
think that's the case. Like, I remember when EG had their first international experience. 100 Thieves had their first. Everyone thought they deserved it.
Okay.
When people think Golden Guardians in their first international, they kind of just go, okay, who shit the bed?
But I like what Golden Guardians did. Like, what they did was smart, because if you never made an international appearance, guess what you do? You get players to join your team who have had international appearance. We got River, Stixxay, did Licorice go to international before when he was in Cloud9?
Yes.
He did? Yeah. So that basically just get all the players that used to...
all 5 of these individuals have been to some international tournament.
Just proves my point more. If your team has ever went to an international tournament, just get a 5-man roster who have gone to an international tournament, and somehow you'll get it.
Yeah. And also, for as much as I shit on Licorice, apparently in his rookie year back in 2018, he almost got Esports PC Rookie of the Year. As like being a great player.
Oh my goodness.
He lost it to Bwipo though, because apparently they something around that.
I mean, but Blippo was kind of awesome though.
Yeah.
Then.
So just it's weird thinking that. Like at one point, people thought he was Rookie of the Year.
That is weird because he's not that good.
Also, another strange thing. I just found like a couple strange things about Licorice.
Yeah, say it all.
So the other strange one that I found about Licorice was that back in 2019, he missed almost like 6 weeks of playing League because apparently he went rock climbing and like injured his wrist.
Why do you do that though? Like, why should he rock climb?
Exactly.
You know, it's responsibility. You know, if you're an athlete or anything of the sort, you gotta,
you do that during the off season.
Exactly.
Not mid tournaments.
He probably was just happy he was still getting paid because he was under contract.
Yeah. Then of course you have their jungler River.
River is everyone's excited about River.
Yeah,
I have to say.
Well, that's because like not only is this not his first time at MSI, he's also been to Worlds a couple times through PSG Talent.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know how old he is, but he looks pretty young. And what was really funny, I saw from like a Cloud9 content video. Apparently Blabber, like during scrims, sometimes he just pulls out the weirdest shit against Golden Guardians. And every time River just gets shit on by Blabber, River apparently he just texts Blabber immediately and be like, "How do you do that? How did you do that?
How did you play Annie Jungle? Explain yourself.
Explain yourself." Yeah. So I mean, you can tell like someone that has a mindset like that is a very good for the team, constantly trying to prove themselves. And, it could have added to Golden Guardian's success, wanting to grow consistently.
Yeah. And I will say the one thing Golden Guardians have above Cloud9 right now is the fact of their bot lane synergy. Like, don't get me wrong, Berserker, best ADC in NA.
True.
But on the international level, you actually have to think more with your support as well.
Yeah.
The synergy, like you guys have to be on the same wavelength.
Definitely.
And I feel Stixxay and Huhi have that down.
I think you're right, because like when I see like Berserker like popping off, it's usually like a solo kill or a team fight. You don't really see too much in lane. But like Stixxay and Huhi, they like very clean together.
Yeah.
And Huhi specifically, he works really well with the team.
Yeah, well, and not just that, internationally wise, not at MSI but also at Worlds, the two of them have experience together on CLG at these international tournaments. All the way back in like 2016.
Yeah.
And just like the fact, like granted, he was in at mid lane at the time, but like even then, as a team, like they played together. They know how they should think at an international level. Because in my opinion, there's a difference between home field think and international think.
Yeah. You need experience.
Yeah. Complete different mentality.
Like you see T1, like they go into international tournament, but back then when they just had like a rookie top laner and like rookie bot lane or whatever, they like you can obviously tell those were the players that threw when it mattered the most.
Yeah. Another thing that a lot of players, or not players, viewers, if they haven't paid attention to LCS or LCS players a whole lot, Huhi was one of like the first major LCS players, or just professional players, that like showed off Aurelion Sol and its glory back when you had the spinning balls. Yeah, pre-work.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, that was his like the way Zilean is to Bjergsen.
That champ is so hard.
Aurelion Sol was to Huhi.
They made the champion like a million times stronger and a million times easier.
Yeah. And then with that wrapping up the LCS,
transition to.
But let's go with the LEC. Let's go straight over. What was it? Skip, hop, and a jump.
For breakfast eaters.
Yeah, Bean Boys. Bean and Toast Boys.
Yellow teeth.
Whoa.
Oh, so I'm just thinking about Twitch chat. They're so funny.
That is fair. You know what? That's fair. You know what? Since London is known for its wonderful, majestic lions, let's go about the Mad Lions.
I thought you were going to say beans or something. Okay, yeah.
We're going to jump straight into the Mad Lions. And right off the bat, you have Chasey, their top laner.
If there's one thing we learned today is if you don't know what player to get, There's a trillion prodigies in any Korean challenger team.
Okay. Yeah, in which that's what Man Lions did. He was a challenger player, which for those that don't know, challenger is like the rest of the world's equivalent to academy.
Yeah, so Korean academy.
They just snagged him from Damwon Kia.
Yeah, that's also where Berserker came from.
No, Berserker came from T1.
But like the academy.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's what I meant, sorry.
I was just like, whoa.
No.
Whoa.
We just talked about it. Don't worry, I would have messed that up.
Yeah, and fairly young, fairly new.
And fairly smurfing.
Yeah. And another person that I would say is smurfing in the jungle, Eloya.
Dude, he is so good. So when Mad Lions was at their peak, like 2 years ago, and like when Armut was there, they were popping off, you know, and everyone was like, holy crap, Eloya, he is the best jungler, which I still think he is, in the LEC. And then the year after, he still played insanely well, but his team was just not very good around him. And you can tell from his face, like Eloya, if he loses, you can tell he's mad. You can tell he just
has a very expressionate face.
Yeah, and like everyone can feel it because he's a good player. They can tell he tried his best to win, but he lost.
It's just hard to see.
It's hard to see, but this man, he's got a decent roster. You know, they got Niski from last year, and now they have Hilly this year.
Yeah,
and it's working out very, very well.
Yeah. Speaking of Nipsey, I learned something. He's the fourth player to get. I thought he would be like the second, but he's actually the fourth player to win a title in both LEC and LCS. Oh. Funny enough, the other two players that beat him after Sven was Perks and Broken Blade.
Yeah, I think it was Sven, Broken Blade, Perks, and then
Nipsey.
Niski. Yeah,
Niski. And I just thought it was funny that that group of individuals hop in both sides.
I mean,
it made me laugh.
He has like a very classic comeback story because he went to NA. Obviously, he did great, but he comes back and everyone at EU is sort of just like, like I don't know if we should really give you like another chance. You're kind of old and everything like that.
He came back swinging.
Yeah, he was in Fnatic, but he wasn't the main roster, and then he moves to Mad Lions, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have Niski as our new mid laner, and this guy just picks Sylas and just destroys everyone. It's like no one expects that to happen, but he just.
You think I'm just a control mage player? Haha, joke's on you.
Everyone just thinks he's a boomer, and then he's like, yeah, well, Grandpa will show you.
Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
No brimstone.
It was a good one. I like that line.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, ADC. I would say Carzzy is like the second face behind Eloya. Like behind like Mad Lions persona.
Oh yeah.
Like very well known there. Also, I found out, I was kind of curious why sometimes players have like an extra letter or something in their names. And apparently he's gone on record stating that it was supposed to be crazy with one Z, and then he misspelt it and then he like quickly typed it and then hit entered without even like proof checking. And that became his tag.
So he wrote A before R, and his name was Carzzy.
Yeah, with two Z's. Completely botched it, and so...
League players.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Also, the thing I didn't know about him was that he used to be a Riven one trick.
A Riven one trick?
Yeah. Like, throughout this whole list, you'll notice one trend. And that is all of your ADC and support pro players never really one-tricked something in their role. All of the ADCs and supports either swapped from ADC to support or from support to ADC, or they one-tricked a top laner out of nowhere.
So that shows that ADC and support are the easiest roles, and basically the insane top laners wanted easy mode, so they went to the bot lane.
Basically.
Maybe that's why I'm in the bot lane now.
Yeah, could be.
But it's cool because Carzzy, he was in Mad Lions when Mad Lions were at their peak. He went to Vitality last year, but now he went back to Mad Lions, and he's still showing up why he's good. There's Hansama, there's Upset, and there's a lot of other really good ADC players like Crownshot. But Carzzy, he's like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah, and he's doing just fine. One of the most impressive supports, though, I would say on this list.
Oh yeah,
is Hylissang. Like,
he's very respectable.
Yeah, like I feel nicknames people give you from other regions mean a lot.
They do.
Like if someone calls you, if a different region calls you like a silly name,
yeah,
they don't really respect you. But the fact that the Korean League community gave him the nickname the Professor, like that stands out. Like
it does.
You don't call a professor like nobody.
No, because
that's
the notorious support players in Korea are like renowned. Like they're praised like crazy. So for like Korea to praise an international support, especially when they already have like, you know, Mad Life, who everyone's obsessed with, and Keria. It's like
well, not including they also have like the birth of like Mata.
Yeah.
And just like all these greats. You'd think they would call like one of them Professor. Now they call this guy Professor.
Yeah, they call this guy.
Which is just outstanding. Which, to be fair, he's like on the like if you look at like LEC leaderboards on like top of things for assists, which are really big for support, he holds the first place slot. To be the first one to reach 2,500 assists, and then immediately followed it by hitting first for 4,000.
Yeah.
Like, he's been in the game a decent amount of time, and he's just trucking through.
I think he has, like, a very unique playstyle as well. And last year, when he was in Fnatic, it wasn't working too well. A lot of people were saying that he was inting and whatnot. But now he's in Mad Lions, he's, you know, still being that professor, doing these very unique and unorthodox engages or whatnot, and that the team's actually working around him, and that's why it's all working out. I never expected the Elyoya Hylissang combo to just like work really well.
Yeah, normally you always think of like the jungle and mid duo. But I feel like with Mad Lions, and the reason why they're able to do so well is because it's almost Elyoya and Hylissang. Well, at least like that's the reason why they've been so consistently at the top.
Yeah, you could say because like and you know Elyoya, he's a very aggressive jungler, right?
Yeah.
So for like what is it? Elyoya and Niski are aggressive, Elyoya and Hylissang are aggressive. Now you have like multiple combinations in the team that are just aggressive and always together and have that bond in a way when they're making decisions, and it's working out.
Yeah. And I think they're gonna do great.
I'm excited to see them. They're not going into play-ins, right? They're starting right off in the beginning.
The team that people didn't think were going to be in play-ins, G2. What a roller coaster of a team.
But did they? I don't know. I am like kind of a G2 fan because I was a really big fan ever since like Reckless joined. I have to say I expected this because this is the G2 way.
It is, and like you know what the funniest thing about G2 is?
What?
Is with Broken Blade. So doing my diggings and just figuring out all the stuff. Not only did he like play against, like he wasn't always with G2.
Yeah, of course not.
But the man's only ever gotten one pentakill, and it was on Darius, and it was against G2.
Bruh.
I think it's just the mental thought behind it of I'm going to kill your entire team and then join you.
G2 are like, I took that personally and added him to the roster.
Yeah, there's like, you know what? Not a lot of people can pentakill us, but when it happens, we have our eyes on you.
I think he's a great addition to G2 culture as well. He's very funny, seems like a very bright person. Yeah. So I like the energy he brings to the team.
Biggest thing I would say is that he was very underused in TSM when he was here in the United States.
I mean, they did go to Worlds and they did get first place, but after that terrible Worlds run, he just ran all the way to EU.
Yeah, I would too. Let's be honest.
But again, it's this comeback story again. He goes to EU. He joins SK. SK is like the worst team in the league for like straight 2 years, but he still, you watch him and he still plays well. Yeah. And because he worked hard, some of these bigger teams, they spotted him and they gave him a chance. Yeah. And he fits perfectly.
Another person they gave a chance to, Yike. Got a little rookie baby.
And this, I'm very surprised by G2. Like, when they had two rookies, Targamas and Flaky last year, it was going great in the LEC. But when it went to the international stage, the team didn't look very good, right? But now they have some OG bot lane, right? But they invested in amateur jungler.
which is always risky.
It's very risky because like the jungler is like your main decision maker.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like the only reason why they're able to, I feel teams are allowed to get with rookie junglers is when they have a solid mid laner. Because that mid laner can basically babysit them.
No way.
And there's no better babysit the myth, the man, the legend, the EU faker Caps. Which you and I off podcast have agreed that the Chinese casters give away the best nicknames.
Yeah, they're so funny.
And the nicknames that they've given Caps is the King of Hats, or in close translation to the King of Caps.
This is so funny, Dave. Just like, he's Caps. His username's Caps, and he's good, so he's the King of Caps.
Yeah. It's funny, but deserved.
Yeah.
Like, very deserved. He's been to World's Finals multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like the great Uzi himself, sadly, those are the only two players to ever make consecutive World's Finals and not win. But he can say that he can do it more than once. It's not a fluke.
True.
Caps has proven that EU can do it more than once.
Hey, Uzi retired, but Caps, he's still in it.
Still kicking. Well, Uzi kind of had to retire. He had very bad arthritis.
Oh.
Like, the doctors said that even though he's like in his mid-20s, his arthritis was that of like a 70-year-old in his hands.
Oh, God. Well, I don't care. Too bad.
Yeah. Then you have Hansama, which had an amazing run with Rogue in the EU, came to the United States, joined the quote-unquote American super team, and then just get shit on. People were dissing him, dissing the whole team.
Man, I felt so bad for Hansama, and I know he kind of used that as sort of like his revenge arc to become an even greater player, which we see now. But when you saw him on Team Liquid, he was very passive. They would put him on Ashe. They would just put him on champions that weren't aggressive. I know it's not as big of a bot meta as it was. It's more of a bot meta now than it was before. But you don't put like this insane European ADC in these very supportive roles.
Especially one renowned for playing Draven. One of the most aggressive ADCs.
Mm-hmm. For all the aggressive Draven players in EU, he's the number one.
Yeah. And not only that, even when he was one-tricking Tark as a support, Tark's a very aggressive, he's a support. Like, the man's never been nonstop aggressing.
Yeah, I can see that now, because like Tark, Draven, they're kind of similar. They just freaking go in.
Yeah, go in. Also, once again, another ADC that just is just like, you know what? I guess if I want to play pro, I'm going ADC. There's a trend here, if you're noticing.
There's always role swapping.
Yeah. And then Mikyx, who I would say is the second best EU support.
Who's the first?
Hillside.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. In terms of results, you're right.
Yeah, and then I would say Targamas, if he ever figures his shit out, I'd put him as a solid third.
Yeah.
But to me, the thing that stood out the most is Mikyx, like through all of his stats and all that, the majority of the time he holds like a solid 60% win rate.
Teams, they don't even have to look at all of his stats. They just be like, oh, he has a positive win rate. He's gonna give us our team a positive win rate. It's all the. It's like when you look at op.gg and you're like, okay, which champion has the highest win rate, and just go with that. It's like the same thing. Yeah,
it's just like that was like the thing that like everyone was like saying and like telling me on like Reddit, everything. Just like the man has a high win rate. There's like really anything else that's really cool about him. The man can win.
Consistency is key.
It is. And we see that all the time with G2. So it checks out. Unless G2's has a spot guaranteed, which then it just tanks. the win rates, bygones be bygones. We got G2. The bank.
G2 is something else. I'm very excited to watch them play. I think they're just gonna... I don't think they're gonna be a clean sweep. I think they're gonna have some wacky shit going on. That's all I have to say.
Then following that, the LPL.
Woo!
With a spicy team.
Do you know what I'm excited for? JDG versus Genji.
That's gonna be solid.
Just because like Ruler versus Shobi. That would be sick, no?
Yeah. And right after that, you have like 369, solid top laner.
Yeah, this guy got so much attention, especially being in Worlds. As we know, like last year, JDG, they were the furthest they were the Chinese team that went the furthest in Worlds. And 369, although he got like bodied by Faker, excluding that part, he was playing very well.
Yeah. Then you have Kanavi, one of the best junglers in China, and he's very renowned for just building weird shit on junglers, like redemption on Olaf jungle, or if it's like a melee AD, let's just throw a Doran's Blade on that jungler.
He's like the carry of the jungle.
Yeah, just I wouldn't say carry. Carry like does weird champions. Kanavi does weird items.
He's always cooking.
Yeah. Then Knight, probably one of the most consistent Korean Chinese top laners.
Mid
laners.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
My brain got confused because he's from Korea, but plays in China. And my brain just like shut down.
I mean, he's got like a very noticeable name. And then he also, the noticeable name, he just made a name for himself as soon as he started popping off more.
And the biggest thing about him that stood out to me is that he's a lefty. He uses the mouse in the left hand and keyboard on the right hand, which just that feels so wrong. I've tried it before because I'm ambidextrous. I can do things both sides. It still feels dirty. No, it feels gross.
I bet it does. I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, and then you have Ruler and Missing in the bot lane. I would say Missing is a very solid mid support.
Yeah, he's always consistently up there. But Ruler, I mean, we gotta give props to him. He goes to LPL, right? His like first or second game, he just gets a penta on Zeri. He gets a penta in the finals of Spring Split. He just comes in and is like, "Hey, I'm the best," and he just shows it.
Yeah,
like just straight up. There's so many good ADC players in LPL, right? But Ruler, man,
makes it look good.
Yeah, he just like, I know you guys are great players, but like I'm from Korea. Like, it's just like, what a statement, you know?
You want to see a magic trick?
You know, yeah.
And speaking of magic tricks, let's go into Bibli Gaming, where I will say right here and now has one of our favorite top laners. Get out of here, Zeus. We have a new boy. His name is Ben.
I like Zeus too.
I've been watching a lot of Ben clips, and good God, this man, it's so fun to watch.
He made a nickname for himself because all the casters, they now call him Giga Ben.
I can see that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, all he does is play duelists and engage. Like, the man goes hard.
Like, you'll at least see one solo kill every time he plays a game. Like, he will just completely dominate the lane, and like, even if he loses, it doesn't matter. He doesn't change his aggressive style.
Yeah, though he is renowned for being really bad at tanks. And after losing finals this recent split,
to JDG.
Yeah, you told me a fun, interesting thing about him.
Yeah, so after he won the finals, man woke up the next day at 7 a.m., got on solo queue, and only played Malphite, Gragas, Sion, and Cassandre. Just only played tanks.
He will break his curse.
Yeah, he's literally like, he's hurting himself. And like, man, he had a good win rate too. Like, for a duelist player, if you're good at duelists, you have to be good at tanks. That's all I have to say. And it showed in the results. But like, man, a serious wake-up call.
Yeah. Also, he is a great just person in general. Who else could you say as your friends or someone? If your dad called you up and said, "Hey, let's play some League and I want you to carry me."
No, I saw the video where like his dad, like if he's like losing, he's like, "Hey son, can you help me?"
Yeah.
He just straight up like, I mean, like if Brian knew his account would be banned, that's for sure. But
hey son, I need you to Smurf on me. It's funny. It's wholesome. You don't see a whole lot of wholesome. And then you have, I believe his name is Zune. Is that how you pronounce it?
June. I don't know.
But he's not, I wouldn't say a rookie, but he's not 100% veteran. He's had a couple years on Invictus Gaming, kind of bouncing around a little bit in the Chinese server, and he just kind of needed the right pieces. And I would say with Ben and, was it Yagao? Yagao. With those two, you can see the difference.
I mean, people have played solo queue. if you go in as a jungler and you have a great mid laner and a great top laner, it's life for you. Like, you're chilling.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get every scuttle.
Every objective is yours for the taking.
Yeah, and it goes the other way around. If you have a bad mid laner and a bad top laner, GG.
Yeah.
FF.
So I wouldn't say he's being carried, but it is easing him into it.
Yeah, he does have 2 great mid and top laners.
And Yagao just, whew, so good.
You know, it's funny though, because before the final game between JDG and BLG, what is it? Kanavi was basically trash talking Yagao, saying that you win every time. I've taken you to like tournaments like twice because I was in your team, but now that I'm not in your team, you're not gonna win anymore. And I've just slapped him.
Whew. Though, if Yagao was playing on Rise, I think it would be a different story.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but apparently, like back in 2019, he played Rise 8 games in a row and lost all 8. Like, he had like a 0% win rate on that champion in 2019, or something close to it. He might have won 1 or 2 before or after, but to have such like a big losing streak on a champion like, there's a difference between losing like on a losing streak with multiple champions. The fact that it was specifically Rise, like,
they just meme on him about it now.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and then you have Elk and On, which I would say aren't very well known.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's almost in their benefit, since like people don't know 100% what they do, how they roll. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like, it's like secret agents.
Yeah.
They'll just kind of slip in and surprise you.
I mean, we haven't really been following the LPL like every game compared to LCS and a little bit of LEC, but I think MSI is where we can finally see the ball lane and how well they play against the other international teams.
Yeah. And then let's round off the big 4 with Korea. Of
course, best for last. Best for last.
Well, we still have the minor regions. Can't forget that.
No, Korea is best for last. For the major regions.
Oh, okay. The major regions. Right off the bat, Dorn. Solid top laner.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad for him because I feel like he's always been like overshadowed by T1.
Always the second best.
Always the second best, and I still think he is only the second best. Sorry, Dorn. Like, you're carried by Gragas in the finals in spring. Yeah. But you know, I also have to say that he is very consistent. Yeah. He might not be a huge standout player, but sometimes consistency is what you need. You know, it's the same reason why EG invested so much into Impact, and someday, right, they want that stability. Yeah.
And with that, they have probably what I would say is the next coming of a great jungle and mid lane pair. Because you had Kenyon and Showmaker. Now you have Peanut and Chovy.
Yeah, I mean, Peanut, we already know he's been
solid for a long time.
Yeah, he's won a lot of things.
Yeah. And I found a cute thing about him.
What?
So apparently his mom owns like a little tiny restaurant in Seoul, and is just decorated with posters of his like gamer profile, Genji memorabilia.
Maybe that attracts the customers though.
Yeah, but it's very wholesome.
Yeah.
The mom's just like, look at my
son. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, it's just it was cute.
He played with a Faker.
Yeah,
it's my son.
Yeah. Can your son play against Faker?
Do you want some hot tea?
Here, have a dumpling.
Have a dumpling.
Yeah. And watch.
It has peanuts in it.
Speaking of food and peanuts, Chovy. Another thing I learned about Chovy is apparently he got his gamer tag from Anchovy.
Dude, that's so funny because we got the edgiest name in gaming history, Faker, right? Yeah. And then we got Peanut and Anchovy.
Yeah. Oh, can't forget about their support, Delight.
Delightful.
You have Food, Delight, Pays, and you basically almost feels like Pays and Doran are two good friends that are just overly delightful, wanting anchovies and peanuts. That's Genji in a nutshell right there, folks.
My goodness. I have to say that Doran is like, the name feels super duper basic to me. I think that's also one thing. Like, I think you could have picked a better name if you want to stand out more. Can I just say that? I feel like if you had like a cooler name like Zeus, you'd shine more.
That could be fair.
Just saying.
And speaking of Zeus, we have T1 I feel like by this time everyone knows a little bit about T1.
No, who's T1? Who are they? Are they a good team? Are they up and coming?
They're a solid second place team.
Oh shit! You can't just say that on a podcast, dude. Faker will come for you and he will buy you.
Okay,
chicken.
well, no, let's run this down.
Okay.
Spring 2023, second place. Worlds, second place. Summer 2022, second place.
Okay, you want to talk about Gen G? Okay, World's fourth place. Second World's third place.
But it was just funny that like 3 events in a row, solid second each time. But you have Zeus, solid top laner. Owner, if he can't beat you in league, he has a black belt in Taekwondo. He'll just beat you up in real life.
Dude, he can beat me anytime.
I know. Such a hunk. Faker, which
who's Faker?
Yeah. Though I did learn some fun things about Faker.
Okay.
So I learned that he's really into puns.
That's cute.
And he really likes to bug Teddy and Wolf and just like constantly do puns with them. And I'm starting to get into K-pop. I know you've been into K-pop.
Good.
But because of Faker, I got into a certain band called Red Velvet.
A certain band.
Yes.
That is the girl group.
That is the girl group? I've heard multiple things.
Okay, no. Okay, I get everyone's like obsession with Blackpink and like the new groups and whatnot, but like the OGs no.
Yeah. Then you have Gumayushi, solid ADC. Then, in my opinion, Keria, the next generation of Faker. And I say this because he's the first player to get regular season MVP as a support.
Dude, okay, so like I posted a Keria video and like in the comments, everyone's like either saying he's not the best support in the world, he hasn't proven himself, he needs to win worlds. And there's another side of like fans that are just like, what? You said he's the best support in the world? He's the best player in the world. I'm just like, okay, like calm down.
That's a
like,
very strong line there.
I'm so sorry. Like, okay, like I just did it smack in the middle and said he was the best support in the world. And like I just like created a mini battlefield of people saying he's not the best support and another side is saying he's the best player.
Yeah. Well, it's a fine line he leads.
Yeah.
With the 4 major regions, a lot of notable players, I'd say. But that's to be expected with major regions. Like, to be on a major region, you should be at a certain level.
And 90% chance that a major region wins MSI?
Most of the time. So back in the day, apparently Vietnam was like a big deal.
Didn't they win like the second Worlds?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But apparently, like they're just known for being crazy.
Oh,
well, like
add some context to that.
They're not afraid to do certain things.
Okay.
Like one of the first Vietnam games I saw, they whipped out a Shaco jungle.
Oh shoot!
And they were just like, "We're in this bitch."
Did they win?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I was more like just awed and also terrified. So let's start off with PSG Talon.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most renowned minor region teams behind Detonation Focus Me.
No, absolutely.
Probably one of their big noticeable players is Waco, their ADC. Solid ADC player. And apparently in like the minor region that they're in, people call him the promotion tournament faker.
What?
Yeah, that he has a long fucking like nickname.
Why? Why is that his nickname?
I don't know. It's just what they've given him, which could be because since he's been on PSG Talon for so long and they've won so many tournaments with him, like
he gets promoted?
Well, no, just like in hopes of maybe like one day their region or PSG Talon might go to a major region.
Oh.
I don't know. Could happen. Could not.
I want to say if NA like completely dropped the ball at MSI this time, we're going to become a minor region.
Yeah. Then you have GAM Esports, which...
Also a pretty common name, I
Yeah.
say. Yeah, I definitely recognize them.
Yeah, they have a couple players. They have, Kai Vatop and Levi Jungle, which have both made a massive name for themselves, not only in Vietnam, but also in Korea on their solo queue servers.
Oh, did they go to Korea and just like practice or
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And Levi apparently has made multiple years and seasons to be like challenger in both Korea and Vietnam. So I have high expectations for him. I think he'll do great. Detonation Focus Me. I'm very sad that we didn't get to see Sengeku Gaming at MSI, though I have high hopes that they'll be at Worlds. But again, though, Detonation Focus Me has probably 2 players that have been with them probably since the team was created.
Yeah,
and that's
the first guy is Steel.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I saw the first Shaco Jungle international tournament from this guy, and he was popping off. I was like very, very interested and very surprised. Like Japan, I don't know how to explain it. It's like they play everything really like perfectly and really like oriented. Clean. Yeah, it's all clean, but yet they're like very aggressive at the same time. It's like a mix of China and Korea.
Yeah, you can see it a lot, and with their ADC, Yutapon.
That's how the Western people say it. In Japan, they probably say it better, like Yutapon. I don't know. Yeah.
Yutapon. With those 2, both have been with the org for like over 5 years. So, and Detonation Focus Me has made international appearances for the last like 5 or so years. So, I would like to say it's mostly probably because of these 2 individuals.
Yeah, I mean, if you're constantly going to Worlds, then like there's no reason to get rid of these guys, right?
Yeah, solid players. And probably the one I'm most excited for, because I didn't really know about them last year, but Loud, like not only
they are the team now, like
yeah, and I would say it's 75% because of their Valorant team.
75, yeah. I mean,
like they did make a name for themselves by writing bot diff on their bicep at Worlds. And plans in last year, but the fact that like they're such a new organization, like Loud itself, from being like created, they have made multiple appearances throughout multiple video games and have done phenomenally well in those. For just like they're almost, I would say, like the Latin version of Cloud9 almost, and just how well they're immediately ready to go jump off and just become a dominant force.
Like, can you believe they've only been in the league for 3 years?
Yeah, and then they're already renowned.
Like, probably less for Valorant. Also, I don't know if they started immediately, but Valorant, they won a Challengers, right? And then they go to the finals of another Challengers, and now it's a time for league. Now they're popping off in Valorant. You gotta ride this momentum and show it at MSI.
Yeah, and I believe that we will. I think they'll be probably one of the biggest underdogs.
They're going against G2. So, wait, are they? I think they're going against G2. So, do you think they'll win if they go against G2? I may be wrong, so I'm just saying, do you think they will?
I think it'll be a good game.
Uh-huh.
I still think G2 will probably win.
Okay.
But I think they have a higher chance in the lower bracket, getting that 3rd slot.
Oh, gotcha.
Because of the trickle down.
Yeah, it's very weird how it's working, You never expect like an odd number of teams to like make it out of play-ins.
I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's going to make it more like cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, R7. I think I've seen them around. The only thing that really brought anything to me, like none of their players were very noticeable to me.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that stood out was the fact that was where Jose Diodo, an ex-FlyQuest jungler, dear to my heart.
Where is he now?
He's on another...
Okay, he's still playing?
Yeah,
okay,
he's on another team. He's not on this team, but his stardom, like his big like fame, was on this team when R7 went to Worlds, I think in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember seeing Jose Diodo at Worlds when he was in a different team, which is most likely R7. And I just find it crazy that, just focusing more on Jose Diodo himself, he brought a lot of fans in. Because can you imagine, he joins FlyQuest? As soon as he joins FlyQuest is now working on like a Spanish channel. They're making another like channel that focuses more on the Spanish audience just because of Jose Diodo.
Yeah.
Isn't that...
It's crazy.
It's like one player, just the whole org just like moves with them in a way. And now he left and they're not doing much of that anymore. They're focusing more on the inner side of the org instead of reaching out
which I've been loving every second.
Which I love, but I just still find it crazy that they would just switch up their team like that.
Yeah. Olie's, her flamboyant personality and Spica's awkwardness is so fun to watch.
Yeah, I am a little bit disappointed that we're not seeing FlyQuest in Worlds, in MSI.
I think the biggest fault in that is that they just need to have Vikla, not int as much. And they need to figure out their support.
Yeah, I think they should just stick to one thing. I'll be honest. Either stick to Winsome or stick to Ayla. I know everyone's complaining and whatnot, but at the end of the day, Winsome and Ayla, they're both good players. And, you guys, they were dominating the whole entire split. So, just focus on that. I know if Team Liquid is going to keep their roster, there's no reason FlyQuest shouldn't.
Yeah. So I have one note that I want to make before we wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thought I've had recently. And that's, even though Vulcan has put in his hat to join the LEC, a little bit of me, tiny bit, wants for him to join FlyQuest so that they can make it to Worlds. Because I feel with that, even with Vikla inting, Prince and Vulcan, it would bring so much memories of Vulcan and Danny back to me.
Nah, okay, so for me, I think Winston's the best choice just because they're both Korean.
That's fair.
Like, it's just like basic. I think if they work more together, like they can be a solid duo. But, we're not trying to focus on LCS right now. We're hyping up.
It was just like the last little like...
We're hyping up towards MSI. So here's the final question, or maybe the second final question. Who do you think is going to win MSI, or top 3? What should we do?
Let's pick on who we think are going to make it out of play-ins, because that's going to be the most prevalent. So I think it's going to be G2.
Yeah, I think for sure. Oh wait, no, for sure, Billy. Let's just go for that. At least like guaranteed, BLG are gonna make it out of play-ins.
That's.
I have to say, like, come on.
Yeah, that's very fair. And then, me personally would love to see Golden Guardians make it, but I feel like they're going to be knocked out by Billy.
If Golden Guardians beat BLG, I would be so shocked.
I feel like it's going to be a good game.
I don't think so. I think they're going to get crushed.
You know what? I want a little of the NA Copia.
Can you imagine Bin versus Licorice?
It's not going to be pretty.
You thought Fudge versus Licorice?
We're going to heavily be relying on the bot lane for that game.
Oh my god.
We're going to ignore top and pray to God bot wins. It's going to be a bot diff game.
Oh my goodness.
But in the end, my personal opinion, I honestly think it will be Billy Gaming, G2, and Loud going into the thing. I think
that's very valid. Yeah.
As much as I'd love Golden Guardians to go through, I feel like based on how playoffs went, they had a really good run, but then it felt like they got worn out a little bit. And so I feel like if they initially lose, get dropped down into lower brackets, they'll make it almost all the way and then lose the very last second.
I think for me, I'm just going to have the copium. I think Golden Guardians can make it out.
Yeah.
Just watching their whole entire spring split, they were consistent. They weren't wishy-washy. It may have seemed that way, nearing the finals and the semifinals for spring split playoffs. But I think they got what it takes.
Now, I have a couple theories that could happen. These are 2 theories. These are crazy theories.
Okay.
First one, Billy, Golden Guardians, and Loud. G2 just doesn't even make it.
I can see that because G2, they'll do something wrong.
Second one is if Golden Guardians do beat Billy, it's going to be Golden Guardians, Loud, and PSG Talon.
No.
That's the
theory. There's no way BLG doesn't make it. That's
what I'm saying. If there's the smallest chance, I want it to be that outcome. I want both Billy and G. If Billy's out, G2 is out. Just flat as that.
I want to be the incel that wants all the major regions to make it out.
That's not fair.
I'm sorry. And sorry, the minor regions are just, I don't know if they can do it.
PSG Talon's done it before.
Yeah, but they don't got Maple. They don't got...
I don't think that's stopping them. They've produced so much talent that's ridiculous.
They have River too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, my. It's going to be River versus PSG. Oh!
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good fight. And I can't wait for all of you to watch it. It starts May 2nd.
Hey, we're not done yet, though. Who's going to win? Who's going to win finals? Who's going to win MSI?
Win it all?
Yeah.
Cloud9.
No.
And they're gonna win. Yep. You know why they're gonna win?
Why?
First off, who do you think's gonna win?
I think BLG are gonna win.
Okay, this is why Cloud9 will win.
Okay.
You know why? Because they believe that grass doesn't exist. Let's go.
You made me do this.
Yeah, I did.